Onondaga County, Toby, Shelley. And he'll do the introduction.
No, for once, I'm glad you came out for good news. People ask me why I don't smile more often, and it's because we don't have a lot of good news usually. But today we do. I'd like to bring over Beth Baldwin from the Baldwin Foundation. She's willing to come over. And Deputies Miori, Lieutenant Rosenboras, Chief Dober. There was an idea patch within the office about creating a pink patch for breast cancer awareness. And I agreed to that, and I have one of those. Miori and Lieutenant Rosenboras, they grabbed the bull by the horns and sold these patches for $25 a piece, and were able to raise at $25 a piece $1,700. And it's my honor to present that $1,785 to Beth Baldwin for the
Thank you very much.
breast cancer. So with that, it's all yours.
My mom's foundation has been known to raise money downstate to Stony Brook and upstate to University Upstate. We now have a campaign that we're doing besides breast cancer. We are trying to get an NCI here at Upstate. So we are trying to raise and accomplish raising $50 million to go to University Upstate to consider it a National Cancer Institute. So this is very helpful. Every penny that somebody else gives us is not less work that we have to do, but it just is helping us because $50 million is a lot of money. So I appreciate everybody in the Sheriff's Department, and where we live is very important to be able to have this access because it'll help all cancers, not just breast cancer, and that'll make it like a Sloan Kettering or a Roswell will be here in Syracuse once we accomplish this. So thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, if they do. Yeah.
If anyone has any questions right now regarding this, you can ask away to the sheriff or Ms. Baldwin.
Easy one.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got off.
Stick around.
All
and
right.
Maybe the next one will go that easy.
Yeah.
I'd like
Thank
to do
you.
that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Don't get in trouble with it. Just wait till they move on. Thanks. Second thing we'd like to talk about is the stuff we normally get to talk about. There's an incident that happened on January 10th in our downtown Justice Center where inmate Tillman went after two of our deputies with what appeared to be a paring knife, stabbing one of those deputies multiple times and injuring the other deputy in the process. And of course the big question we've had since that incident is how inmate Tillman, Jeff Tillman, got that knife in our jail. And that was an extensive investigation. Our detectives watched the videotape from the time inmate Tillman got into our jail October 4th until the incident on January 10th. And that's 92 days of video that those detectives had to watch to ensure that that knife wasn't obtained any other way but by Tillman when he came into our jail. So when inmate Tillman came into our jail on October 4th, an image was obtained from him. It's called a body scan. And that body scan, it's like a x-ray, if you will. And this is a picture of the body scan from the company. You can see the person in there. So he came into our jail on October 4th, standard procedure. We obtained a picture of him. This is not a picture of Tillman. This is from the company's website, this Intercept company. This is what the image looks like. This is not Tillman. It's from their website. So that's the image you get. So with Tillman, if you look at this image, you can actually, I'm a little ways away, you can actually see some metal objects. I don't know if you can see the necklace around this person's neck. You can see a ring on their hand. You can see some metal in their shoes. You can see the zipper of their pants. So with inmate Tillman, what we were able to determine is he had that knife concealed in his cavity, and that knife followed along with his zipper, and that's how it was missed. All the other searches were done exactly per procedure. Just a simple oversight because that knife followed along with that zipper. So what have we done to prove that? Well, we did a scan of Tillman afterwards. You know, when we moved him to another jail, we were able to obtain another image from him. Inmate Tillman was in our jail, I think, 4 times throughout 23 and 24. So we had comparison photos of Tillman like this without a knife. So that's how we were able to determine that that was the knife along that zipper. What have we done since then? Well, you can see in this image, this is a front-on picture. So we've changed to where we're going to take 2 pictures of the inmates. One directly from the front like this, and one from the side. And a side view picture most likely would have shown us that knife. That's one change we've made. Instead of having one deputy review the picture, we're going to have 2 deputies review that picture to ensure that one person isn't missing something. We also changed the resolution. We talked to the company that produces this intercept. We're going to change the resolution of the picture. That changes the amount of pictures we can take. I believe they said from like 160 to 120 a year of a particular inmate. So those are the 3 things we did, and that's how we are confident the knife came into our jail. Any questions?
So
Yes,
when
ma'am.
he was in the scan, was he wearing his regular civilian clothes that he was picked up off the street wearing?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's standard procedure? Everyone's normally wearing their civilian clothing?
Correct. You've been down there, so you come in through that where the police leave you and you get searched there. Well, you're searched on the street, then you're searched by the deputies in that first processing area, go through the metal detector, then you go to this body scan. And then from there you get strip search. But the way he had it concealed in his body cavity, it wasn't able to see it in a strip search.
And to clarify, just from that front-on photo, it was basically in line with the zipper on his pants, and that's why you couldn't see the object.
Correct. You're looking at the width of a knife blade. That's what that front-on picture. That's what you can see is the width of a knife blade.
In talking to Tillman, has he admitted to having that inside him?
No. Tillman's a challenging person to talk to.
Is that mental health, or?
Yeah, it's a lot of things. If you look at his arrest on his August arrest, or no, his October 4th arrest, it's a similar incident. He just there's a random person on the sidewalk that he stabs.
When was his last arrest germane to what he was then in the jail for ahead of this incident?
Before October 4th. What date? It's 28th.
What were the circumstances of him being arrested or going through court before landing in a jail cell that would have allowed him, in theory, to plan to have that on him?
The way it appears, he didn't know he was getting arrested on October 4th. He didn't know that. Tillman didn't. The way it appears, he is walking the streets with this concealed.
Why would you have that concealed if you don't know that you need it in a setting like a jail?
Connor, when you figure it out, let me know.
So this would have been his stomach that it was in?
Wasn't down his throat.
Okay.
I'm not going to draw you a picture.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Are you concerned, given that this is a rare thing that has happened, obviously, but that there might be other weapons in the jail right now because this did sneak through?
So we had planned to do a shakedown of the jail. I promised one when I took office within 30 days, and we did that with both jails. Then we did one in February 2024. We were planning the 2025 one, I think, in March. And when this happened, we immediately locked down both our jails and did full shakedowns. And guess what we found? Nothing. So the work those deputies are doing, the good work they're doing, showed. When we looked at the 92 days of video, once we realized this inmate had a knife, and you look at some of the videos of previous days, you never see the knife, but you can see the way he's holding it, because we know that day he's holding it a certain way, and you see other video, and like we think he's probably holding that.
You're saying he had it in his hand other days?
You don't see it, but the way he's walking around with his sleeve down, it does appear like he's holding it the same way.
When we walked through the jail with you, you were confident enough in that screening system to put forward the hypothetical that it was someone like a lawyer or a visitor, or even on the extreme end, one of your own deputies somehow bringing in contraband. So to that last question, how can we be confident that this machine has worked and there aren't still other weapons in the jail?
So in the 231-year history of this department, it's an isolated incident. We are confident that that's how it came in. You know, creating a sharp-edged weapon while you're in jail, some type of shank, is different than bringing one in. I was confident that day that that's how this came in, but I couldn't rule out those other 92 days. And it took us a long time to look at 92, what's 92 times 24? That's how many hours of video we had to watch. So that's why it took so long to get to this point to give this press conference.
Do you know, in the span of the 92 days of video, at what point did you guys actively say, okay, this is when he got it, or pulled it out, or revealed it?
With Tillman, if you ever get the opportunity to watch, maybe after his court case, we'll put that video out. There's nothing that initiates Tillman's behavior. Absolutely nothing. There's zero indicators from Tillman that he was going to do this. None.
To go back, I know that you don't have that clear answer, but just given your experience in law enforcement, I'm still stuck on this idea that he would have had that on his person, in his cavity, just on a random day, with seemingly no preparation in his head to make sure he had a weapon on him to deal with jail life. Have you ever seen anything like that before? In interviews with him, was there any indication?
It's hard to get your head around that somebody be walking around like that. But you're not Jeff Tillman.
So is that the first time you've seen that?
Yes. We've had other inmates come in with it, some type of weapon in their cavity. I can remember a female specifically, and we had to wait for it to come out.
And it's there randomly, as again, opposed to, I know that I'm going to jail or prison, I'd like to have a weapon on me.
Yeah, I mean, this is the more common thing we see. This is once again from Intercept. This shows bags of drugs, and the dark areas, the drugs inside their body. This is what we typically see. So it's not uncommon for a body cavity to have some type of drug in it. It's common. A weapon, and just how do you do that? How do you walk around like that? How do you sit like that? I don't.
Did he have any injuries from holding it that way?
Not that we're aware of.
Was the knife in something to soften the blade, or?
We don't know, because we didn't have it when he, had we seen it when he brought it in, we would have waited for us to get possession of it, and we would have that answer, but.
That original procedure, just taking the face-on photo when he threw the scanner, is that best practice? Is that something that other jails do, or had there been an option in the past to have multiple photos around the person's body?
Yeah, I'm not sure of other sheriff's policies. I went to the Sheriff's Association conference in January, and we gave a presentation on this, the undersheriff and I, and other sheriffs were similar to you, in awe that this happened that way.
All right.
Just one more question. Were you disappointed that this was the way that it came through, if that makes sense? Was anyone, did anyone, I think you mentioned retraining, was anyone disciplined for missing this, or anything along those lines?
All our policies and procedures were followed. We just added to our existing policy with the 2 deputies and changing the resolution and things like that, and having that second picture. It's just one of those things that you're not thinking about, I should be doing this. You know, this incident happened, and then we're, you know, how are we going to prevent this in the future? That's how we got to where we are.
Where's Tillman now?
He's still in Oneida County. Yeah, we immediately moved him out of our jail.
Can I ask one kind of off topic?
Yeah, are we done with the questions for this? Then we can do a, do
Okay.
you want to do a pull away, or do you just want to do it right here?
Oh,
Right here's good? Okay.
I know it's not the sheriff's office's case or anything, but earlier today there was an incident at Baldwinsville High School where a student brought a BB gun. I was just wondering if you could kind of speak to the danger that this poses, that these guns look like real guns and cause real chaos.
Yeah, I was briefed on that just before noon, I think is when it happened. We had considerable resources on the way to that. You know, just my immediate concern, I don't know if you remember the incident happened in Jamesville with a young man who had some mental issues and a BB gun. That's my concern. You know what I mean? Keeping my people safe, keeping the public safe. Do you know, have you seen my BB gun in my office? It looks exactly like Tom's gun. Yeah, it's a challenge for us, keeping people safe. And the advantage that the press has, you know, you can armchair quarterback all our decisions that we make in seconds.
Can you speak to the nature of the call that your office got for assist from Baldwinsville Police? Was it on the extreme end of we've got a potential active shooter, or was it more so we got to check on something, there's a potential threat?
We got the notification. You need to remember we have a large agency. You know, what personnel are you is going to be required to lock down a school, search a school, find a person? So we started organizing. We just bought a new canine a and a half ago. So we're doing a canine school. So we had a bunch of officers there. Half our SWAT team is training today. So we had those resources available, plus our normal patrol resources. So we could easily bring 30, 40 deputies to that scene to help out.
So is it sort of just the circumstances lend itself to overloading the response in a way, or is that just what the response required?
Well, it's easier to send some people back than it is to get them there.
The deputies searched each classroom?
I'm not sure exactly. Baldwinsville PD should really be answering these questions. They kept control of that. You know, even though we are the larger presence, they maintain control of it.
All right.
I have
All right.
one more question about the knife. Was it a folding knife, or was it just
It looked like a paring knife. I actually saw the
so
knife.
like a small knife that you would get from a knife block?
Yeah, I don't remember how long it was.
It was 5 inches.
5 inches long.
Yeah.
It was very similar to the knife he used on that October 4th event. Very similar. Something like you'd buy at the dollar store, you know. Black handle.